Looking online, you would be hard-pressed to find a positive take on God of War: Fallen God. Honestly, it's for good reason. These 4 issues don't make for very engaging reading. Tasked with linking God of War 3 to God of War 2018, Fallen God fails to grip its readers and tell the story of how Kratos left Greece and wound up in Scandinavia. The question, rightly, becomes, why would I talk about this? Well, mainly because I also talked about that other disappointing God of War comic series as part of this YouTube project. However, in rereading Fallen God for this video, the second time I've ever read these 4 issues, ever, by the way, I found to my shock that there is something of substance to talk about here. While this story fails to serve as a link from one saga to the next, it does function as an epilogue to the Greek saga, placing Kratos on a road so bleak, his role so seemingly spelled out to him, that with the hindsight of 2022's God of War Ragnarok, I find that Fallen God is actually a piece that examines Kratos' role as a slave to prophecy and to himself. A warning about the danger he would be in if he ever found himself the subject of yet another prophecy. So, for this final video, we will journey with Kratos one last time. His vengeance complete, Olympus burned to the ground, the ghost of Sparta the only soul left, just as prophecy foretold. We will see Kratos leave behind the wreckage of Greece, carrying nothing but his mistakes and his own nature. In this final episode, we will examine Kratos' legacy thus far, as defined by his relationship to destiny.
My vengeance ends now.
God of War: Fallen God's 4 issues saw release between the months of March and June of 2021. Published by Dark Horse Comics, the 3rd largest comics company in the US, God of War is only one of many licensed properties Mike Richardson's company, founded in 1986, works with. Dark Horse is best known for setting the industry standard for what makes quality licensed comics, graphic novels, collectibles, and art books. March of 2022 saw Dark Horse successfully acquired by Embracer Group. Embracer Group is a parent company of businesses developing and publishing video games, board games, and comics the world over. Embracer Group holds an extensive catalog of 850-plus owned franchises, including, but not limited to, Saints Row, Goat Simulator, Dead Island, Darksiders, and Borderlands. With its head office based in Karlstad, Sweden, Embracer Group maintains a global presence through its subsidiaries, including, but again not limited to, THQ Nordic, Gearbox Entertainment, and now Dark Horse. Embracer has 100-plus internal game development studios and over 10,000 employees across more than 40 countries. God of War: Fallen God was written by Chris Roberson. Roberson wrote another God of War comic, the God of War 2018 video game prequel series, released alongside the titular PlayStation 4 game. Additionally, Roberson co-created iZombie. Edison Rex was a co-writer for Hellboy and the BPRD, has written more than a dozen novels and 36 short stories, has been a finalist for the World Fantasy Award 4 times, was a 2-time finalist for the John W. Campbell Award for Best New Writer, was 3 times a finalist for the Eisner Awards, and has won the Sidewise Award for Best Alternate History in the short form and novel categories. He even wrote an episode of Red vs. Blue, according to IMDb. Interior art was done by Tony Parker. Parker also worked on the God of War 2018 prequel series, an Eisner-nominated comic artist and illustrator, nominated as part of the team that adapted Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep to graphic novel form. He has drawn for nearly all major comic companies, is an Inkwell judge, and a former college professor. He is a co-creator of both This Damned Band for Dark Horse and Mayday for Image. Dan Jackson is Fallen God's colorist. Jackson is listed as a freelance comic book colorist/digital production artist on LinkedIn. He has worked with Dark Horse for over 25 years at the time of writing this. Jackson works alongside digital artists to create, correct, and prepare a wide range of comics and images for publication. As with Roberson and Parker, Jackson was also involved in the God of War 2018 prequel series. Dave Rapoza was the cover artist for issues 1 through 3, with Gabriele Dell'Otto credited as the cover artist for issue 4. Rapoza is a self-taught illustrator from Boston, Massachusetts, founder of the art forum Crimson Daggers, and currently freelances, making covers for clients like Marvel. Dell'Otto has a long list of Marvel and DC projects he has worked on, starting as early as 2004 with Marvel's Secret War series, and contributing as recently as 2020 with the 90s variant for the Joker's 80th anniversary comic. Lettering was done by Jimmy Bentacourt. Bentacourt is a graphic designer at Comicraft, according to Fallen God. Comicraft is the comic book industry's leading lettering and design firm. Bentacourt has done lettering for a range of books across multiple companies. Fallen God was edited by Patrick Thorpe with Dark Horse since 2007, designed by Mei Hijikuro with Dark Horse since 2020, and Samantha Hummer with Dark Horse since 2018 is credited as digital art technician. Finally, special thanks were given to Santa Monica Studios' own Jeff Ketchum, Corey Barlog, Eric Williams, Matt Sophos, Rich Gober, Raphael Grassetti, Della Longfish, and Joseph Kennedy. Sony's Stephanie Froud and Dark Horse's Nick McHorder were also thanked.
You have done well, Kratos. Mankind is now ready to hear my message. I insist you give me the power from inside the box.
The box was empty.
Kratos, as a character thus far, is a slave to his destiny, in itself a facet of his nature. On its face, this may seem a ridiculous claim. God of War 2 is literally about Kratos taking control of his own destiny through his own sheer force of will, after all. Kratos doesn't care for destiny, nor does he allow it to affect his decisions. All of that said, that doesn't mean destiny is not intertwined with Kratos. When one considers the entire Greek saga, as opposed to just the main trilogy, we can quickly and clearly unearth the truth.
When I learned of the plot between my parents to overthrow Olympus, I could not believe Alethea's words. Then she showed me the truth. That the god of war would bring down the very walls of Olympus.
Kratos' ending was already written.
After the Great War with the Titans, the Oracle had foretold the demise of the Olympian gods and the destruction of Olympus. She saw that it would be brought about not by the hands of the Titans, who thirsted for revenge, but by the hands of a mortal, a marked warrior.
I mean, is that not exactly what happened?
Once, I sought the Oracle for a means to break my bondage to Ares. One priestess had visions that showed her Olympus would be brought to ruin by the god of war. Therefore she helped me, intending to undermine Ares and protect her realm. She did not foresee that I would kill him and take his office. In the end, I proved her vision of doom correct.
It just so happened that, in the context of the Greek saga, prophecies revolving around Kratos spoke to his very core, his nature, making following them to Kratos as natural as following his own instinct. Here's an interesting thought experiment. Consider, when Ares was still the god of war, what if he had not tricked Kratos into murdering Lysandra and Calliope? Well, following that to its logical conclusion, The two would likely have eventually led a war to conquer Olympus and won, satisfying the first prophecy. And knowing this saga, that war likely would have ended with the Pantheon dead, as we saw in God of War 3, and the world below Mount Olympus destroyed. This means Lysandra and Calliope would still die as a result of Ares and Kratos, and Sparta would still be destroyed to boot. A grief-filled and angry Kratos would then kill Ares in retribution to fulfill his need for vengeance, satisfying the second prophecy, and again leaving a lone soul to survey the carnage around him. The Greek saga is telling us that Kratos will always satisfy destiny because his destiny always speaks to his current nature, his unchanging nature.
You used my power to kill Zeus.
Pandora was sacrificed in vain. She died because of my need for vengeance.
The power you took from the box is mine.
Returning to regular events, though, this sentiment regarding his nature continues to be followed. Kratos, having taken Ares' throne, would eventually turn his ire to the rest of the Greek pantheon, and how could he not, after he learned of the full extent of the Olympians' treatment towards his family, experiencing torturous humiliation and the destruction of his people at their hands. To reiterate again, destiny in the Greek saga is always laid out as things that Kratos wants to do anyway, with potential invisible forces beyond the understanding of anyone unknowingly guiding him to do these things, whilst guiding others to provide catalyst for these things. To be sure, we cannot simply call Kratos a slave to destiny, to his nature, without at least acknowledging the role that other individuals play. Zeus, Athena, Ares, and countless others acted as instigators, either wanting destiny to unfold by their trying to manipulate it, or simply trying to prevent it altogether. Either way, the lesson is clear time and again. Try and manipulate destiny to your advantage in any way, and it will always backfire. Kratos' nature is to adhere to his instincts, his emotions, to follow his rage. That's going to be important. He never tries to actively manipulate destiny. Even in God of War 2, he's undoing Zeus's manipulation by taking advantage of Gaia's manipulations, rather than trying to add new wrinkles to it himself. Thus, destiny always plays out in his favor in the Greek saga. That favor being, unlike everyone else, he gets to live, whether he likes it or not. The sole survivor as dictated by destiny. All of this takes us to God of War, Fallen God. Roberson spins a tale of a Kratos, after giving hope to a mankind that may one day rise from the wreckage of his rampage, now disconnected to the world, his heart closed to others, having nothing to keep him moving forward. Now knowing without a doubt he is unable to die by his own hand, Kratos, to put a point on it, has nothing left to live for, and is ready to simply wander the lands, eternally damned. A word that Roberson weirdly has Kratos say a lot in his comics, both this and the 2018 prequel. Strange. Regardless, Kratos' wanderings take him to the fringes of the River Kingdom. That's how Mimir refers to Egypt in God of War Ragnarok, where he finds himself in the crosshairs of destiny once more. Chaos beasts are attacking a village, and Kratos is the one destined to kill the beasts and save the village. Unlike previous prophecies and foretellings, however, Kratos refuses to follow through. And so Kratos wanders away, only for destiny to lure him back to the village. He continues to refuse his predestination until the badgering of the River Kingdom's pantheon and Athena finally break Kratos' will to do as he's prophesized. And so he does. He finally picks up the blades of chaos that he is now cursed to never lose, after trying all story long to distance himself from them, kills the beasts, saves the day, wanders away.
When you killed Zeus, you must have allowed something to awaken.
Hope is what makes us strong.
What was it, Kratos? I understand its true meaning and where it belongs.
That is the summary of Fallen God's 4-issue story, and it should be clearer why people don't like this that much. Everyone was excited to learn how Kratos went from Greek to Norse, seeing Egypt along the way, and this is not that at all. As discussed before, however, while this fails to tell the story that people wanted to see, that particular story is actually covered in a little bit more detail in the God of War 2018 novelization, these 4 issues do serve a purpose. In their own slow-paced, vague, ultimately somewhat boring way, this story cements Kratos' legacy moving into the Norse saga. In this story, it doesn't matter how Kratos made it to Scandinavia. What matters is that Kratos is in danger when he arrives. In the never-ending philosophical debate of free will versus predestination, God of War, for now, is saying that predestination wins out. This is important in relation to when the issues were released. 1 year out from God of War Ragnarok, everyone wanted some hint at what would happen. After learning that Kratos and Atreus' first journey was predestined and, more to the point, that Kratos was fated to die in his son's arms. This video will not recap nor majorly spoil the events of the Greek saga for you, aside from the necessary information vital to making the point regarding what this story is about. For now, all you need to know is that people were wondering, would this happen? Is Kratos' destiny going to come true? Is he going to die in a Ragnarok scenario?
I trust you to do the right thing, Kratos.
I owe you nothing.
I made you a god. I sheltered you from the wrath of Olympus. I delivered you revenge on Zeus.
It is over, Athena.
The definition of an epilogue is to serve as a final comment to the main story. Fallen God arrived in 2021 to paint a particularly bleak epilogue regarding the Greek saga. Whether Kratos wanted to or not, he will fulfill destiny. No matter where he ends up, no matter what he does. Would Kratos die? It seems, based off this story, that the answer was yes. The old Kratos from the Greek saga would die.
You would dare strike me down? Again?
My vengeance ends now.
No!
Treating this story as an epilogue, it's clear it was designed to show how far Kratos has fallen by the end of God of War 3, and how essentially doomed he is going into the Norse saga. It highlights how far Kratos has developed prior to and during the events of the 2018 title. As an aside, the prequel comic, it does a phenomenal job of highlighting Kratos' evolving relationship with his rage and his changing instincts now that Atreus is in his life, a first step in his development and evolution of his nature. The story also highlights how far he still has to go in the then upcoming Ragnarok.
You disappoint me, Spartan.
Let me be clear, just in case I haven't been yet. I don't recommend God of War Fallen God. Aside from solid art direction, the story is slow, vague, uninteresting, and suffers from not wanting to tell an essential character-based story in the face of the previous and upcoming big titles, something I found the 2018 prequel comic does not suffer from, just in my opinion. I will likely never read these issues again, and frankly, you shouldn't have to either. I summarized them in literally a few minutes. There's not much to them. What it does do, however, is give the last word on the Greek saga. Kratos has fallen, utterly and completely. His legacy is that of killer, world destroyer, and a creature of prophecy. With no hope, Kratos mindlessly trudges on, unaware of the people he is going to meet, of the friends and the enemies that he would make. Unaware he would learn the secret to finding every reason to keep moving forward, to evolving his nature, to rebuild what is broken in him, his friends, and the world around him. So finally, I just want to say thanks for watching this, everyone. Obviously, I love the God of War series, if that hasn't been clear by this point, and I was very lucky. I could put this all together for anyone interested. I hope you all enjoyed. This will be the last video for a while, and certainly the final God of War video for a long, long while. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe. And for anyone interested, stay tuned for Phase 3, where I jump back into an old familiar franchise that I love oh so much. Bye-bye.